Right then, this is a quick road test video, and this is for Ford Focus, registered MM64XZH, and it's a 1.6 diesel Zetec model. Mileage currently showing on the car, 65,666. The reason we do, sorry, move my phone out of the way. The reason we do all these videos, and especially these road test videos, is to ensure that if anyone's online looking at any of our cars, they get to see the very car advertised actually in operation. And the reason we feel it's important is simply because we know just how frustrating it can be to go and see a car which can look perfectly good in photographs or description, but when you get there and drive it, you find it's got an obvious fault that shows up as soon as you drive the car, basically. So hence that's why we do it. So a little background to this car. As it says in the advert, this is actually my car. I actually used it we took it as a part exchange through the business, but I was waiting for a new car of mine, or a newer car of mine to arrive, which was delayed. So I needed a car for a short period of time, and this was available, and I'd driven it before and thoroughly liked it. I always did like Focuses in terms of the way they drive, and it just was an opportune time, cheap to tax, cheap on fuel, so it was it was ideal for that. So that's why I'm driving it. It's I'm a Honda man, as you'll know from the adverts and the videos, but there was nothing available that would fit what I wanted to do. So anyway, coming to the car, engine starts instantly and settles to a smooth, even idle. There are no warning lights at all relating to the engine or any other part of the car. I'll do the temperature gauge a little bit later because I've only just started the car, and I like to do them when they're cold as well as hot, so you can get basically faults that show up at different engine temperatures quite clearly. The engine's really nice, I have to say. It's always been. You can stop there. Oh, right, fair enough. It's always been one of the smoother, quieter ones, and it is very smooth and very quiet on the move, I have to say, and ridiculously economical. It literally sips fuel, but it's a really nice unit to use day in, day out, because it's so un-diesel-like in the sound when it's on the move. Clearly, when it's idle, it is, but on the move, it's very, very muted and subdued, which is all the better for it. There are, by the way, I think I might mention, no warning lights on the dashboard. Engine then feeds through into clutch and gearbox. The clutch in the car, absolutely perfect. Bike points exactly where it's meant to be. It's nice and smooth in operation. Gear change, 6-speed gearbox. Ford have always done nice gearboxes, and this one's no different to any of those. It's very sort of slick shifting, but it's got a nice kind of weighting to it as well, so it feels sort of mechanically nice and satisfying to use. But more importantly, I can't feel anywhere in the linkage at all. It feels pretty much exactly as it must have done when it was new, so I can't feel anywhere in that anywhere. Then coming to, I've always considered the best part of any Focus. I worked for Ford. My first job on the motor trade was working for a Ford main dealer. At the time when they were selling one of the last generation Escorts, which were horrendous cars. I don't care what anyone says about them, sort of J-plate Escorts. They're horrid. And then they brought out the Mondeo and replaced the Escort eventually with the Focus here, and they went down a whole new road with how their cars drove and felt, starting with the Mondeo, and this has that DNA because it's a really, really, really good car. It's top of the pile when it comes to steering and chassis, because what it does, it is a good fun car to drive. They handle absolutely brilliantly. When you go through corners like the one up here, hardly any turn of the wheel. It's kind of fluid and linear and just lovely in the way it feels, but very little body roll. The body is so composed over bumps, and yet despite the fact that you've got this incredibly good handling, you've got this unbelievably compliant ride. It is a brilliant chassis, I have to say, and there are no rattles, clonks or anything coming from underneath the car that shouldn't be there, so all in fine fettle indeed. Brakes on the car, just make sure no one's directly behind me. Really, really good on the car. Very powerful brakes. Pull up nice and strong. There's no kind of pulsing or vibration coming back through the pedal at all, so all in very, very good order indeed. finally coming inside. They are very nicely put together now these days. It feels substantial in here, it's in good condition inside. It's been kept very nicely. The dashboard looks simple, easy to use. It's got a nice kind of wrapped around feel to its design. It all seems to be functioning really well. I can't say there's nothing that sort of jumps out at me. I've pressed all the buttons, they all seem to function exactly as they should. Got this lovely kind of leather-bound steering wheel which feels sort of sporty and substantial to hold. The whole car feels very substantial on the road actually. It's got that, they've certainly come a long way over the years, because it's, you know, it's a car that's way more refined than cars used to be in this class, in terms of it's, you know, very smooth, very quiet. Just a very polished car in every way, I have to say. Point to the videos to pick up on any issues, of which I can find none. Drives really well, really well.